Podcasting for brands. IAmTheHow.com.
soundartradio.org.uk.
Right, there we go. Sound Art Radio, 102.5 FM and online. I'm Dave Clark. I am the How. And I'm joined this week by Christine from Watermill Cottages.
Hello.
How are you doing? All right?
Very well, thank you.
Great. I've actually been away for a couple of weeks. Feels like a couple of months. So it's good to be back in the hot seat. So now, where have you come from today?
I've come from the magical land of Hansel.
Hansel.
Which is... My first chicken was called Gretel,
No,
obviously.
yeah,
It's between Slapton and Street, behind Slapton Sands, in the heart of the South Hams.
So lots of people who listen to Sound Art Radio who have the good fortune of living in the South Hams won't know Hansel.
No, not people who live in Slapton don't know Hansel.
No.
We're tucked in the Garra Valley. The Garra runs down from near Blackhorton and feeds Slapton Lee, which is the largest freshwater lake in the southwest.
So they know all about that. They know about Slapton.
They know about Slapton Lee.
They know about the Lee.
Yeah. Site of special scientific interest.
Yep, and they know that road.
They know that road, the one that went, yes, that got washed away.
But the one that goes to Slapton,
yeah.
What was it, 7 mile, whatever?
Oh, 5 Mile Lane.
5 Mile Lane. Sorry, my mistake.
We're 4.5 miles down it.
Yeah, 4.5 mile down the 5 Mile Lane. Turn left.
Yes.
Turn right.
Turn right.
Keep going.
Keep going until you run out of road.
When you can go no further, just persevere.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Keep faith.
And then you
find a watermill and 5 beautiful cottages.
Brilliant. So that's it in a nutshell. What is it that you provide then?
Well, we offer holidays in nature, far from the madding crowd.
Yep.
No TV, no Wi-Fi, no mobile signal, in 20 acres of secret coastal valley, practically untouched by the modern world.
Now, that sounds great. I mean, that sounds fantastic. But for some people, they might think that's my idea of hell. You know, how can I not post a selfie?
I know. Well, you have to go up the lane to do that.
Okay.
But
so it's technically possible.
It's technically possible, or a helium balloon with your mobile attached.
Nice idea. Do they come?
No, they don't.
No. Okay. You should think about that.
Need a long string.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. So okay. Well, what we're going to do? We're going to talk about that. Collection of cottages in that secret valley in some detail.
Yeah.
But before we do that, we're going to talk a little bit about you.
Okay.
And about, how you got to where you are now. So I used to say how you ended up doing what you're doing, but that always sounds really negative.
I know.
So I think, how you ended up, how you...
arrived.
Yeah, how you arrived. How you, your journey to this great place, the present. So... Tell us about where you grew up, the jobs you've done, places in the world you've worked, and how you ended up in the secret valley.
I know, and I've been there for 11 years, which is the longest I've lived anywhere as a grown-up.
Right. Can you remember? It hasn't erased your memory though.
Well, before Hansel, before Watermill Cottages, and after. Yeah, there's definitely a before and after, a previous life.
Is there?
There's definitely previous.
So where did you grow up?
I grew up in a small town in North Lincolnshire. A steel town called Scunthorpe.
Oh, yeah.
Where I had a really happy childhood, spent a lot of time in nature, and out exploring, identifying things. We did a lot of nature walks and looks. So
Scunthorpe is surrounded by...
Lincolnshire wolds.
Yeah.
And it's a bit like the land that time forgot. It's got water on 3 sides, the Trent, the Humber and the North Sea.
Right. So wonderful. So once you're out of town...
Once you're away from the blast furnaces.
Yeah. But that's quite nice though, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
And I imagine it's quite... is it a bit like, I rember thinking when I went to Exeter, I lived in Exeter for a while, I really liked Exeter because from quite a lot of the places in the city, if not most places, you could kind of see the green.
Yeah, you can. You can. It used to be called the industrial garden town of the North.
Well, there you go.
There you are.
Yeah.
Who knew that? Add that to your Trivial Pursuit list.
Yeah. Well, I will, just in time for you know what. So you grew up in Scunthorpe.
Yeah.
And did you go? We were talking about Grange Hill earlier on. You went to Grange Hill school.
I went to a Grange Hill school. I went to, it's no longer there, it's been pulled down.
Right.
I went to a state comprehensive school in Scunthorpe and then a big sixth form there as well.
That's similar to, I went to a comprehensive school in Maidenhead,
Uh-huh.
and I had to leave at 16 and go to Windsor and Maidenhead College
Yeah.
for further education.
Yes.
Because they couldn't do biology and geography A-level.
Oh,
Can you believe
there you
that?
are. No.
Couldn't fit it in the timetable.
Yeah. Well, we
weird.
were quite lucky because we benefited from all that 60s investment. So we had language labs and
Oh, yeah.
swimming pools.
Bit like,
and
bit like what I look like now. So, and this sort of connects though, doesn't it? Because you went on to study English.
I did. I went to university and I got into Oxford. I was the second year of women at Magdalen College, famous for Oscar Wilde and Dudley Moore.
Yeah.
And plenty of other people besides.
Yes. So we're going to talk about, because that writing thing,
Yeah, there's a writing
it
thing.
comes back just like a good story. But
Yeah, we mention it at the beginning
Yeah.
and then we have to fire the gun by the end.
Yeah, we'll tee it up.
Yeah.
Is that right? So okay. So then, so after you graduated,
Yeah.
what was the world of work like?
Well, there was a recession on, and I'd kind of thought once I'd come out the Golden Gates, there would be a queue waiting to employ me. But I'd always wanted to be a linguist, you see, and I went and read English language and literature. So I wasn't a linguist, and I couldn't be an interpreter. So I did lots of unusual jobs. It's now called a portfolio career.
Yeah, quite.
Then it was called job hopping.
Yeah.
So, a bit of telesales, bit of recruitment, bit more recruitment.
It's now seen as a strength.
Flexibility, versatility.
I mean, if you've been working in a place for like 12 years, there's something wrong with you.
I did a 12-month marketing contract at IBM, selling mainframes into banks.
Gosh.
And
well, that weirdly connects with my world, because when I was working at the Financial Times, we had a mainframe computer before before the dot-com revolution.
It's the land of dinosaurs, isn't
It
it?
all sat in Epworth Street in the basement. There's a huge mainframe, and our boast was we've got more pages on our mainframe than there are pages on the internet. And we could say that for like 2 years.
Yeah.
And then it all couldn't say that anymore.
Yeah. So I did that for a while, and then life and marriage took me overseas. So I took unpaid leave from my job and moved to Frankfurt. Learnt German and then got a job that was advertised in the local paper, which was British Vice Consul at the British Consulate General in Frankfurt and Stuttgart.
Oh, gosh.
So I did a lot of work going around all the prisons in southwest Germany and psychiatric hospitals and dealing with deaths, disasters, accidents, and all kinds of things that popped up when two great administrations collide.
Yeah, sounds like fun.
It was, yeah. Great railway network. I went all over the place. I've blagged my way into more German prisons than you could imagine.
Do they ask to see your papers?
Yes, I had very good papers.
So that language thing though. So when did you learn German? I mean, how did you do that?
I learnt German when I got there. I did an intensive course. I'm quite good at languages.
You must be. Is there? I mean, are you kind of keeping anything back? Like, do you speak anything other than English and German?
Yeah, French and Spanish.
Okay. So
And American.
So, well, no. I mean, I laugh, but I know what you mean. So, gosh, that's good. I mean, I studied German for a couple of years, and I got ungraded actually in my O level.
Well, I was there, so it was a lot easier. You're bombarded by it.
Of course, that's what I always thought. If I'd been in Germany, it would have been a lot easier.
You can see the point.
Yeah. Gosh. So, just tell me a little bit more about that. So, what did this job entail? This sort of prison connection?
Well, it was the protection of British citizens and other nations under that British protection at the time. That included Hong Kong, and all the protectorates, so Hong Kong triads. And part of the job of protection is visiting people who have been imprisoned in the German prison system.
So is that to make sure that they're being looked after properly and they're not languishing in a cell forgotten because they're...
Which doesn't actually happen in Germany because, if I had to choose a country in which to be imprisoned, it would be that.
Okay.
They're all UN standard. You get your own social worker. There's 23 channels of TV.
Okay.
I mean, it's not
but it's all
an
rubbish.
easy ride.
I bet it's all rubbish, though. That's probably part of the...
It's probably repeats.
Probably part of the correction process. You'll be forced to watch television.
So, and they have it's a rehabilitation program. So that, I used to go to the women's prison a lot in Frankfurt, but they have a whole rehabilitation program for drugs mules from Colombia. So they teach the women trades. They all do the Goethe Institute language course. So they go out with qualifications to enable them to support themselves.
And does it work?
I don't know. I wasn't long in there long enough to find out.
I expect it does.
Yeah, well, I think it probably does. I think if you've got a trade and you can go back and support yourself, you don't need to be swallowing
Do I need to be
packets of cocaine.
That's right. Sort of 50 condoms, or perhaps
Yeah,
do
exactly.
a proper job.
Yeah,
I'll do a proper
no
job.
deal.
So, well, I heard a programme a little while ago about the prison system in Holland, and their problem is that they haven't got enough prisoners. Yeah, so they built all these prisons, and they're not all empty, but they're running sort of a bit low, and they blame their sort of correction, as the Americans call it, the correction industry, so it's a very, very sinister corrections industry, but similar kind of thing.
It's
so,
rehabilitative, yeah.
Yeah, people come in, they get training, they have qualifications, they go out, and they weirdly don't reoffend.
Yes,
And
it works.
it kind of, interesting, isn't it?
They get some self-respect as well.
Yeah. So, Deutschland, when did you come back from?
Oh, goodness. Well, I was in Frankfurt, I was in Cologne, I was in Frankfurt again, and then I led a split existence between Frankfurt and New York.
Gosh. So what was going on in New York?
I was an international execuwife who couldn't get a visa to work, though I did do I was writing for a magazine towards the end.
Okay.
So, I was flitting about a lot, doing a lot of corporate hospitality and entertainment and...
God.
That hosting people.
Very tiring, but I mean that. It must have been very tiring, but a bit of a laugh.
Well, yeah, and I speak the languages, so I was, I considered myself to be working for the company.
Gosh. So, when you left that, were you kind of secretly quite glad?
Well, I left and then ended up back in the UK.
Yeah, I think that can be a bit of a, on a rainy day.
Which was really strange.
That can be a bit weird, seeing all those old coppers. They all look the same, don't they?
And all the people who jump off pavements, that don't wait in an ordentlich fashion to cross when the green man flashes.
When you're jaywalking.
Yeah.
And not getting done for it.
Not getting run over.
Yeah, well,
Goodness me. So there were a few strange things, yeah.
Yeah, no, I think... because that lifestyle, I'm sure, can be, can take its toll, can't it?
It's a very strange lifestyle.
Yeah.
And very up in the air.
Yeah.
And so, I ended up living in Buckinghamshire.
Yeah, home county.
But a little tragedy in life, which led me to be, I decided I would train to be a person-centred counsellor and therapist.
Right.
So I spent 3.5 years doing that and then worked voluntarily for a mental health charity for a while.
So how did you get from the home county to the wonderful county of Devon?
The wonderful county of Devon.
Yeah.
Again, the long and winding road.
Yeah, the A303.
Yes. Well, yes. Counselling's interesting because it leads you to question some of the things you're doing. So after I got unmarried, I went travelling.
Right.
For 2 years. I'd met John and we went travelling around Australia in an off-road caravan and a 4-wheel drive for 2 years through the outback and round the coasts and up through deserts. And
this was on your way between...
This is on my way to Devon.
I took a wrong turning somewhere.
I just didn't know that I was going there at the time.
I think Andover might
and
be
then we
where
kind
I
of thought,
went
well,
wrong.
this works. And we wanted to live a different way. I'd always grown stuff where I could. I'm a passionate grower. And gardener and maker and chutney queen. So, and I'd had an allotment in Beaconsfield. Yeah. So we thought, somewhere where we can grow stuff, live differently. I'd done my fill of travelling, so had he. Let's root, let's be somewhere quiet and do something different.
Great. And that's where you are.
So we found Watermill Cottages. And we have a bit of land and we have an orchard and a kitchen garden and a polytunnel and ducks and chickens and a stream and we do apple pressing.
I'll say it sounds nice, but it is nice because I've seen it.
I know. It's really lovely, isn't it?
It is nice. And I did persevere down that road. And I'm quite used to, Devon lanes, but even it did go through my mind when I went through Hansel. I thought, this is okay. But it's when it kind of said no through road. Thinking, maybe. Although I have to reverse.
That's after us.
Yeah. But, yeah. So, so let's just talk about Watermill Cottages and the holidays. And so, everybody knows about holidays, what they're for, what's different, what's the offer and what's different. So let's start off with the kind of physical. Give us a little tour of the estate.
The tour of this estate, right? Well, it's not really an estate. It's an old watermill built in 1754, though there's been watermill there since medieval times, with 5 holiday cottages, 3 of which are parts of the watermill,
Right.
one with a grindstone in the kitchen floor, 2 of which were barns with bedrooms above the stream, so you can sometimes hear otters whistling as you go to sleep, and 2 were standalone detached cottages that were for the mill workers. And we've made use of the river, the stream, the Gara. We have a water turbine. We generate our own power. We try to be as off-grid as we possibly can. We recycle. We upcycle. We have an electric car charging point because we have an electric car.
Yeah.
And guests who come to stay, if they have an electric car, get free car charging too.
Yeah.
But we're a place you can come to, I don't know, the Beatles song, turn off your mind, relax and float downstream. There's no TV, no Wi-Fi, no mobile signal, basically because we don't get it.
Yes.
And the internet doesn't travel through the thick walls. So you hear bird song, there's no light pollution, you can see the Milky Way, you can listen, you can talk to each other. Kids learn about playing.
Yep.
They play in the river, they learn about talking within a family, read books, make dams, play poo sticks, explore, swing over the stream.
Great.
Explore. We've got 20 acres, so there's more land out. We've got ancient wetlands that are protected by Natural England. There's otters, dippers, all kinds of lovely things around. Glowworms in July.
Yeah.
It's the land that time forgot, really, where if you want to come and experience a holiday in nature, reconnect, maybe rewild your kids, and have a retreat, just get away from the white noise and the advertising and the hype.
Yeah. So how do people react? Let's just pick up on that. So freedom from digital.
Freedom from digital.
So what happens? What's the
a digital detox?
So do people have like a sort of cold turkey or?
It's quite interesting. We do have wives who book without telling their husbands. We also have, in the summer holidays, in the school holidays, we see children arriving and then they run around for a few hours wondering what to do with their hands.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So they might have their mobiles with them, but they don't work. Obviously, they can take photos, but there's no signal.
So their thumbs sort of
So
go
their
into...
thumbs twitch, their hands wobble, and then they kind of think, oh, I can run and jump and leap and hop and play and get dirty and splash and do all kinds of other things. And occasionally, we get children will say, Dad, there's no TV. And he said, I know, I told you there was no TV. But Dad, there's really no TV. And we get people saying at the end of the holiday, thank you. And all we've done really is remove the opportunity to be online.
Yeah.
We've got lots of games. We do get radio, obviously sound art radio.
Yeah.
But we have games, we have puzzles, there's lots of outdoor stuff. There's trout in the stream. There's a fire pit, you can have a campfire, there's barbecues, go on nature trails.
So what happens to this? I think one of the things I saw when I was reading through some of the literature, online literature, this sort of the idea of freedom for the imagination.
Oh yeah, you can just let go.
And do you see that? I mean, how does that kind of manifest itself?
Well, I call it the great exhale. If people are there for a week, and we do short breaks all year, and holidays all year, but it usually happens on a Monday morning or a Tuesday, and you see people standing by the stream, just kind of looking around them, breathing in, and suddenly they just go, and the shoulders drop, and they start running around trying to tick off all the sights, and they might spend the next day just in the valley, wandering, sitting, having a barbecue, playing with the kids, and just letting go.
Do some people really have a bit of a problem though? Like, do they start climbing the walls and then? When I say cold turkey, I'm kind of serious because
Occasionally, we've had people 2 or 3 times. Bear in mind this is over 11 years.
Yeah.
Who said that things like your thoughts crowd in on you and it's
Okay.
not nice, or need some reassurance about, whilst it feels a long way from anywhere, what happens if anything occurs, an emergency or whatever.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
we've
yeah.
had the local air ambulance do a recce.
You've got a helipad?
We haven't got a helipad, but they've been down.
Oh, right. I thought...
So we
Am I
come under
confused?
Coast Guard because we're
Okay.
coastal.
I must have imagined that. I thought you had
Well,
sort of Stone H.
Stone Age, no, but it's a thought, isn't it?
Yeah, no, I must be getting confused somewhere else. I'm sure.
No, we haven't got a
You must
helipad,
have
but
been
you can
wind-
land in a field. They've come and done a recce.
But you were winding me up there because I'm
I
sure
was,
you
yeah.
said this is where the helicopter lands.
I did, yeah.
Yeah, well, I believed you. I actually believed you. No, but it's probably true.
But we do have a landline, and we do have
Wind up.
we do have internet through that landline. Though we
course.
are at the end of everything, so the bandwidth is a bit thin.
Yeah. So you just get the dregs that trickle
We
through.
do, particularly in the school holidays.
Gosh, that sounds great. So, and what about the sort of? Tell me about the sort of food as well. So you mentioned your polytunnel, and in Beaconsfield you didn't have a polytunnel, but you
I didn't. I had an allotment. Yeah. So here we have. I'm a messy gardener. I only grow easy things. I tried at the beginning to grow everything, and then realised the farmer over the hill had a field full of potatoes.
Yeah.
Why was I doing that?
No, exactly.
But we have an orchard that has a lot of old Devon varieties of cider, apples,
Yeah.
eaters and cookers. We've added some stuff to that. So we have medlars and mulberries and
Yeah.
all kinds of things. We have a lot of dits and plums. So we do apple pressing in October half term.
Yeah.
Everybody's invited, and it's a community thing. Everybody who's staying comes and helps press the apples. We eat lots of apple food, and people take home freshly pressed apple juice. We make cider out of it as well.
Yeah.
Then I grow lots of stuff in the polytunnel, and I'm quite happy to show children
Yeah.
where food comes from.
And what are you happy with their levels of ignorance? Is that a good way
Well,
of saying
I
it?
think when I said to one child, have you seen the orchard? A really lovely, bright child from an inner city. And he said, what's an orchard? I said, come with me.
Yeah.
Tell your parents this is what we're doing.
Yeah.
And, you need to know what an orchard is, what an apple tree is, where potatoes come from,
Yeah.
how you grow garlic,
Yeah.
where your salad comes from, how a tomato grows. And so I do a lot of that.
Okay.
And then we have ducks and chickens. So there's the perennial question of which comes first, the chicken or the egg.
Yeah.
Um,
Interesting.
So, yeah, you can cuddle a duckling. And we quite often have a local farmer's sheep in the fields. My partner's daughter farms locally. So we sometimes have lambs
Yeah.
to bottle feed at Easter. And
Sounds great.
it's heaven on a stick.
Yeah. Wow. How about that? Have a good stick. Yeah. So woods, streams, gardens,
Tadpoles, newts.
everything.
Yeah.
So it's this idea, isn't it, that I think, I think everybody gets this is an interesting thing, isn't it? So it seems that everybody gets this idea of being under a lot of, pressure from social media, being always connected, finding it hard, because it is an addiction, it's an addictive behavior, being on your phone, finding it hard. But at the same time, people, they don't really make very much effort, do they, to break those behaviours, or lots of people don't.
Well, I guess it's hard.
Yeah,
if
it
it's
is.
there all the time, why
Yeah.
would you?
So this is very much of the moment what you're offering, isn't it? It's basically saying, if this is a, so that's the difference with this holiday, isn't it? It's not just a holiday. It's a holiday, but it also puts you into a completely different world.
Well, it revitalises you.
Right.
You actually find that what happens in your brain, in your mind, in your thoughts, in your family, in your relationship, when you're not on your digital devices all the time.
Yeah.
What
It
do you
should-
talk about?
should be
What do you
compulsory.
see when you're looking through your own eyes and not through the camera on your phone? What do you hear?
Good question.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What do you notice?
Don't live life through the lens.
Don't live life through the lens.
Well, I think it should be compulsory. I know that would be a bit difficult. And you've got lots of space,
We have got lots of space.
but not enough for everybody in the entire country to...
No, and just imagine it's a very different Christmas experience because you're away from everything. You have a log fire. It's a log burner in every cottage. We coppice our own logs. They're all local. We
Great.
do it. It's far from the madding crowd.
Does sound great. Well, I'm going to just... I'm just going to say that you're listening to Wavelength, which is a weekly business show on Sound Art Radio. Excuse me. Reaches out across the South Hams, goes out as a podcast. I'm always looking for businesses, all shapes and sizes, charities, any organisation really that's got a story to tell. And let's face it, every business has got a story to tell, but as I say, too many tell the boring ones. So we've got 3 people who are not going to be boring coming up soon. We've got Alan DePledge. He's based in Dartmouth. He's got a new business called EV Consulting, which is about electric vehicles. Matt Bell from Pop Plus in Plymouth. He'll be coming up in the new year. Matt works in the area of social enterprise. And Hal Gilmore from Totnes. Hal's known for running the canoe adventure business, but there's a whole lot more to Hal's bow than meets the eye, if that's not mixing too many metaphors. Now, metaphors. Perhaps we're going to talk about writing. But before I do that, though, I think because we've been talking about the cottages, how do people? What's the best way of people finding out more?
The best way to find out more about Watermill Cottages is to go to our website, watermillcottages.co.uk, or find us on Facebook or Twitter. We're also dog friendly.
Dog friendly.
Yeah, it's a no-through road. There's no through traffic, so it's perfect for kids and dogs to run around.
Oh, nice. And chickens.
And ducks and lambs.
What about
yeah,
lambs?
they run around.
Lambs and dogs. Lambs and they're okay. They all relax.
Okay. They are. Yeah, the ducks are big. They're Muscovies.
Yeah.
They're in a fenced
They can
pen,
look
but
after
they can fly out.
Yeah.
But yeah,
They can look after themselves.
Most dogs are perfectly all right.
I'm sure they are. So so who does what? Let's give a shout out, as they say. So who else is involved?
Well, John and I live there all the time.
Okay.
And then John's daughter Jade
Yeah.
manages the business
Yeah.
and farms locally as well. And we have a really, really good support team. Our cleaning team have been with us for 8.5 and 10 years respectively.
Good. Lucky
They take
you.
great pride
Yeah.
in looking after people and making it as comfortable as possible. And our gardener, Kaz, looks after the gardens and takes great pride in making sure that the lawns are mown and the wells aren't overflowing too much, because there's an old well in one of them.
Yeah.
And that the lovely herbaceous borders and roses and things are all in good order.
Gosh. She's got her work cut out for her.
She has, yeah. She's very good.
And big up, as they say.
Yeah,
Those cleaners as well. 'Cause
Yeah, Sarah and Sandra, we could
Yeah.
not do without them.
No.
And they're loyal and they are really, really reliable and hardworking and really think about
Yeah.
the comfort of the people who come and stay.
Exactly. It's not just about cleaning.
It's
about
not. It's
making
not
it-
about making it a homely space.
Exactly.
And we're comfy. We're
Yeah.
comfy. We're not 5-star gloss.
No.
We're comfy. Go walking. Go to the beach,
Yeah.
and come home to a log fire, and sit by your barbecue if it's summer, and enjoy the stream
And doze off.
and doze off.
Leave your thumbs to twitch.
Yes.
In your
Let
sleep.
your RSI recover.
Yeah, gosh. So brilliant. Now, all those things to think about and look after. So hobbies, clubs, and what else do you do?
Oh, I do lots of things. I took
okay.
up spinning when I came here because I thought
Okay.
we got sheep in the fields. So,
What, spinning as in fleece?
as in
And
fleece.
not sitting on a stationary bicycle.
I don't think I look like I sit on a stationary bicycle.
Never know.
So, no, spinning. I got into dyeing with plants for a while. We're really interested in the environment, obviously, because we've got a turbine and everything, and
Yeah,
ways of, improving how we live.
Yeah.
Cooking and making, obviously, because we're growing so much. And writing is my passion.
Okay.
And we happen to live, the other thing about the valley is it's got an amazing literary heritage.
Okay.
It's connected to Butler Yeats. Jack Butler Yeats was the leading Irish impressionist, and he lived in the valley for 13 years, from 1890. His best mate was John Masefield of I Must Down to the Sea Again.
Mm-hmm.
who wrote a children's book based in the valley and around Blackpool Sands. And Jack Botley Yeats used to put on plays for the school children in the valley.
Right.
His brother William Botley Yeats, I'm sure everybody knows, the poet, used to stay there too. So we tread in hallowed footsteps. And one of the cottages that we own at Watermill Cottages, Rose Cottage, used to be owned by an astonishing woman called Beryl Drusilla de Zoot, who helped found the dance school at Dartington Hall.
Right.
So a very strong local link. She was on the edge of the Bloomsbury set.
Uh-huh.
Very interesting woman. Her partner, Arthur Whaley, was best friends with T.S. Eliot, and they lived above the Wolves in Gordon Square. She was a traveller and a writer as well, a dance ethnologist. So it's a really interesting heritage.
No, absolutely. So what was her connection with the place, the valley?
She bought Rose Cottage, as was typical of Bloomsbury. To quote someone else, they lived in squares and loved in triangles.
Yes.
And she bought the cottage to try and break the triangle that she was in. It didn't work.
Didn't work. Oh, well, nice try though. Not bad sort of consolation prize.
No, no.
So why? So is there some kind of weird literary ley line that runs through the Garra Valley?
Well, I think there must be. It's, I run occasional writing retreats. I run writing workshops, Wednesday Writers, once a month. And I've run writing retreats there. It's a really good place to come and write. So if you're a creative person or you want to come and do some yoga or play music or meditation or writing or art, watercolours, it's a really beautiful place to be. And you don't have the distraction. It's you and your thoughts, which is what every writer needs.
You versus you.
You versus you, yeah, and the blank page.
Gosh. So with that sort of literary, those trailblazers of the past, I mean, does that ley line work for you, or does it work against you?
Oh, I think it works with. It's a constant reminder. It's like the river, whatever happens, that stream, the Garra, runs down to Slapton Lee regardless. It puts everything into perspective. In your life will continue fast or slow, and you'll do what you want to do or what distracts you and takes you away from what you want to do.
So do you write... Sorry, beg your pardon.
Go on.
Do you write now, or do you write
Yep,
all the time?
I do. I journal every morning.
So what kind of things do you
And
publish?
I have just contributed to an anthology published by the Left Bank Writers Group in Harbour House,
Okay.
in Kingsbridge. And I have a writing website, journeywords.co.uk, and I'm writing about the enlightenment of dementia at the moment, and a lot about nature. Nature is the metaphor and the go-to place that I write from, really.
The enlightenment of dementia.
Yes, what I'm learning.
Interesting.
It's not as grim as it sounds.
No, I'm sure it isn't. No, absolutely. So, so just tell me a little bit more about those. So the Wednesday writers, because you're going to grace us with your presence again.
I'll be back with my partner Anne Rainbow in February to launch our 2020 programme.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, you can find out more about it at journeywords.co.uk.
Yeah. Okay. So we're going to talk about that then.
Yes, we're talking about watermillcottages.co.uk today.
No, that's fine. No, I just wanted to sort of...
I like hats. I wear a lot of them.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Keeping very busy. So, projects and ambitions for Watermill Cottages.
Whoa, projects and ambitions. Well, we are going to install a second electric car charging point.
Okay.
We have a hybrid car at the moment that runs off our own electricity.
Uh-huh.
And we run one cottage in the whole of our house and the laundry on self-generated power.
Yep.
And we want to sort of extend that a bit, really. As far as ambitions go, we have 5 cottages. We have no ambition to buy any more cottages. We have no ambition to expand.
No.
We simply want to stay where we are and enjoy the valley and welcome people to experience what life is like down the rabbit hole.
Nice. Where do these people come from all over the country? Do you have a strong pull from, I don't know, London or Birmingham or Midlands? I mean, is there
from all over.
Okay.
And we also get a lot of people who come and stay from Germany and Belgium and the Netherlands.
Right, okay.
I suppose it helps I speak German.
Yeah, I'm sure it does.
I have learnt quite a lot of agricultural German. I found my prison German's not quite so needed.
No.
But yeah, we get people from all over the UK, maybe, not so much further north, sort of, because it's a long way.
Yeah. Down that lane, just that last
just that last
just
bit.
that last 5 miles.
Yeah, they do get cake on arrival. People
Cake on arrival. As opposed to dead
they need some sugar.
As opposed to dead on arrival. It's cake on arrival.
Cake on arrival, much better.
So no, brilliant. Great. Well, that's it. I'm just going to wind up. You've been listening to Wavelength on Sound Art Radio 102.5 FM. I'm Dave Clark. I've been talking to Christine from Watermill Cottages. So if you want to detox your digital head, that's the place to go. And you could live locally and go
You
there.
can, yes. You can come for short breaks.
Even better.
Yeah.
Because then if you have forgotten something, you can pop back and get it.
You can, absolutely.
As long as it's not your iPad. But even if you did, it wouldn't work, so it wouldn't be any point. To get your business featured, just search IAmTheHow. That's all one word. And you can listen to this program, along with all of the others, in the series on Apple and Google and Spotify and many other podcast channels. Please share and subscribe, and contact me if you'd like to come on the show. So, Christine, thanks very much indeed for coming in.
Thank you. I've really enjoyed it.
Good. And I'm looking forward to spring. Well, winter's nice as well, isn't it?
Winter's lovely.
Winter, I mean, all seasons in Watermill are going to be really lovely.
It's really lovely.
Great. Okay, well, thanks very much for that.
Thank you.
And I'll see you all next week.
Podcasting for brands. IAmTheHow.com.